I'm very excited to be here with you this morning or whatever time you're watching this replay. I am David Gilmore, known as LDS Prepper. You can find me on my ldsprepper.com YouTube channel, and we'll be going more into that here in just a second. So just to get myself out of the way, I'm just going to move this little window down. I know it will be covering some of the information that we'll be covering today, but I apologize. I just think it's good for me to be here on the screen. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. And let's talk about how to choose the right water filter for you. Everybody has a different situation. And so you may have different needs and so forth. And you may... So this information today will hopefully help you decide what to get. If you're new to my channel, I have some I'm all about preparedness, being aware of what's going on, living life in a very comfortable, aware situation. Some of my top videos here, as you can see here, how to protect your food storage from others, was recently put up. And that has already 68,000 views on that. How to protect yourself from others for free. It was a very, very popular video with 4.6 thousand. Here's 24,000 views on how to prepare for the coming global reset. Very important information. And then last week, I talked about how to grow food as if your life depends on it. Extremely important to be able to grow your own food. So come over to ldsprepper.com. You can find my YouTube channel by going to ldsprepper.com, and you'll just click on the videos section here, and you'll see all these videos listed, my latest videos right here. Okay, first of all, some of my most popular videos are on water filtration. You can see I put this video up here 8 years ago, and this has 398,000 views, and this has over 1 million views on here. So we're going to go deep dive into the real data and help you decide which water filter may be best for you. I do have to warn you right now up front, there are a lot of scams going on, especially with Berkey water filters. There's a lot of demand. The Berkey water filter is awesome. It's a great system. I highly recommend it. I'm an authorized dealer. But there are unethical people out there putting up fake websites indicating that they're a Berkey dealer. And I get calls every single week asking me if I'm an authorized dealer. I am. I have my own phone number on the website. You can call me anytime. Hopefully between business hours. I'd appreciate that. But there are people out there taking advantage of people's ignorance and not knowing whether they're and wanting to order a Berkey water filter, but actually getting nothing, literally nothing, or getting some knockoff that has lead in the materials and so forth. So if you want to make sure that you're working with an authorized Berkey dealer, go to ldsprepperstore.com. I am an authorized dealer. And I also give you a LDS Prepper Store exclusive lifetime warranty on your Berkey system in addition to the official Berkey water filter system. So don't get scammed. This is an issue. Berkey is aware of it. They now no longer allow people to put Berkey in their domain name because it gets very confusing. There is only one authentic, one official Berkey website. That is berkeywater.com. That is the only official Berkey website. All the other websites would be authorized dealers like myself at ldsprepper.com or unethical people who are trying to take advantage of you. So don't worry about don't have to worry about where to go. Just go to ldsprepperstore.com. You'll get the best pricing, the best service, a lifetime warranty exclusive to my store. So anyway, let's get talking about the water filtration system. So when you come to ldsprepper.store, ldsprepperstore.com, you'll see this page here. This is how you know you're at the right location. You can see I actually have a link here for free self-defense products. I highly recommend you take a look at that. You cannot order the product on my website. The links will take you to the other vendor websites. But this self-defense flashlight is amazing. I hope that everybody gets one. I have one here, and I highly recommend it as a non-lethal self-defense item. I think every woman on the planet should have one of those. And then you can see the link over here to the Berkey water filters. Also, gardening supplies for food, plant foods, and my wife's herbal reference manuals, and her free recipes on just the most amazing whole grain bread you've ever eaten. Also, our food storage calendar, if you want to get that, that's a free download over here in the food storage. So anyway, take a look at the LDS Prepper Store for that. All right, so why water purification? Why is that so important? Well, you really never know who is going to be upstream. And whether it's an animal, whether it's your friend backpacking, whether it's people dumping household waste down the sewer that's coming through the water system. It could be commercial waste being dumped into rivers and streams and lakes and so forth that unfortunately the water filtration system is not removing. As a matter of fact, the water filtration system wants to make sure the water is safe to drink, but it also wants to make sure that they're minimizing their costs in delivering that water to you. So they're not able to filter out everything, and they'll tell you that. I've worked in the water industry for many years, and the water distribution systems will tell you they're not there to filter out pharmaceuticals and heavy metals and so forth. As a matter of fact, you look over here from this report, and you can see this is, I always have my references down here, usually on the bottom. It says traces of pharmaceutical chemicals and hormones have been detected in the drinking water of 14% of the nation, or 41 million Americans in 24 major metropolitan areas. And this is a really good diagram of really how the water filtration system works. And you're still going to end up with pharmaceuticals, heavy metals, pesticides, herbicides, those kind of things in the water. And if you're like, something happens, go wrong, you may be relying on your city water, and all of a sudden you have a warning alert to boil your water because something went wrong. With a filtration system, with the right filtration system, you don't have to worry about what other people are or are not doing with the water because you're taking care of the water yourself. Here's a report from California. What's in the water among the most frequently detected pharmaceuticals and personal care products found in the effluent of Santa Ana watershed waste treatment plants were anticonvulsants, herbicides, and caffeine. Here are the maximum and minimum levels detected during the sampling of only 9 of the most frequently found items. So they've got anticonvulsants, they've got herbicides, they've got antibiotics, they have flame retardant, they have DEET in the water system, caffeine, ibuprofen, pain relievers. So all of this was what was found in the water reservoirs for the Santa Ana, California watershed. Certainly nothing that I would want to be drinking in my water. So I'm sure that the water treatment systems are doing the best that they can. They just can't economically and physically filter out everything for that much water. So let's take this on a personal level, and let's say it's your responsibility, and you just take care of your own water. So let's take a look at what our goals are here. Here's another report from actually 2016, and I just read another report this last week. The same things happening. That chemicals in the water are turning male fish into female fish. It's actually changing them biologically. Okay, now this is a really important step. This is what I went through when I was trying to figure out what water filtering system do I want. These are the questions that I asked, and I ask you to ask yourself these same questions, and you may even want to write these down. So I asked myself, Do I want my water filter to work with city water, remove all the pharmaceuticals and heavy metals and pesticides and herbicides and everything else that may be coming through the water with the chlorine and the fluoride and so forth? Yes, I want it to remove all those things. Do I want it to be able to have my water filter work with river water and stream water and lakes and rainwater and well water? Yes, I want it to work with all those things. And salt water, that would be great. Yes, I want it to work with all those things. Do I want my water filter to be able to use it every day? Yes. Do I want to use it in emergency? Yes. Do I want it to be portable? Yes, that's important to me. Does it? I ask myself, does not need to? Do I want a water filter system that does not need water pressure or electricity? Well, obviously, yes. So if the electricity goes out and you're getting your water through the faucet, or your water filter needs electricity, you no longer have clean water. If you don't have water pressure and your system is dependent on water pressure, you don't have clean water. You have nothing to drink. How many gallons of water a day do I want my water to filter? How many people a day is going to be dependent on that? Do I want to know, and this was really, really important to me, do I want to know when the water filter has stopped working? Yes, absolutely. I want to know 100% of the time if I can test the water filter and make sure that it is protecting me from all these things. And then, David, what do you want to remove from the water? So I started looking at water filters and saying, what can they remove? So here's a list of things that I would want to have removed from my water that are typically found in water. I want the protozoans removed, like Giardia. I've had Giardia before. It is no fun. They call it the double dragon. I was sick from both ends, and it was nothing I would ever want to wish on anybody. So I absolutely want the protozoans removed. I want the bacteria, the botulism, the salmonella, the E. coli removed. I expect my water filter to be able to remove viruses like hepatitis and A and E, polio, and Norwalk virus and rotavirus and other viruses that we are currently seeing in the environment today. I want it to remove chlorine and chloramines. Chloramine is these are put into the city waters to kill the bacteria. But they come through the water, and then we're drinking them, and they're coming into our body, and they're killing our digestive bacteria, and so it's causing, or has known to be carcinogens, and have lots of problems with our digestive system because it's killing our micro life in our bodies. Fluoride. Yes, I do want my water filter to remove fluoride because of all the side effects that they have related to fluoride. I don't want to be taking other people's pharmaceuticals. I'm not on any drugs. I don't take prescription drugs. I don't want to be drinking anybody else's prescription drugs that they may be urinating or dumping down the toilet. I absolutely do not want to be taking heavy metals or drinking pesticides, herbicides. I here live out in the rural area, and I have farmers around me that spray with pesticides and herbicides, Roundup and so forth. I don't want that in my well water. I don't want that in my city water. And petroleum products. I don't want to be drinking gasoline and benzene or diesel, any of those other kind of things in my water. I want, if I'm controlling my filtration, to be able to filter all these things out. So you ask yourself, are these the things that I want filtered out of my water? And if so, yes, then look for filters that guarantee that they can filter these out at least 99%. All right, so which is the best water filter? Let's just take a look at the different water filters. So when we're looking at water filter solutions, remember, number one, what your goal is for a water filter. Do you want it just to remove the taste, to make it taste better? Well, if that's fine, there's lots of filters out there for you. If you want to remove viruses and bacteria and heavy metals and pesticides and pharmaceuticals and so forth, then you're going to need to look a little bit further. Okay, search for the truth. Don't start with an agenda. We all have our favorite products and services and so forth and brands, but just look for the truth. What the most important question that you should be asking is, what does the water filter not remove? That is the most important question. And when you're looking at this information, look for data sheets from EPA certified labs, and make sure that it is a certified lab, not just a certified equipment. We'll take a look at that. If you cannot find EPA certified lab test results done by independent laboratories on these water filters, then I would recommend just walk away. And then you need to know how to read these lab reports. We're not going to get too technical, but I'm going to show you what to look for in lab reports, because some people have pretty sketchy ways of showing their the results. All right, so breaking it down very simply, there's really 4 processes to treat water. One is with chemicals, the next is heat, then we have UV, radiation, and filtration. So let's take a look at these here. By the way, I will be answering questions after this presentation. So if you have any questions or thoughts, please put those in the comments, the live chat right now as they come to you. Write them in there. I will be going over those questions after this presentation. I want to make sure that I get all your questions answered for you and help you decide which water filtration system is going to work best for you and your family. All right, so let's talk about these 4 processes. First of all, we have chemical, which is going to include iodine, chlorine, and peroxide. So there are some advantages to this, and that is that it actually kills bacteria, parasites, and viruses. These chemicals will actually kill those bacteria. The disadvantage is that it does not remove them from the water. They're still in the water. They're just dead. They're just floating around in the drinking water, but they're dead. And it does not remove any synthetic chemicals, pesticides, chlorine, fluoride, pharmaceuticals, heavy metals, or turbidity. Turbidity is dirt, how much dirt is in the water. Okay, so that's chemicals. Using these chemicals, does that meet all your goals for your water treatment system? If so, great. Then you can just add chemicals to your water and be drinking Clorox or peroxide or other things in your water. For me, this may be a plan B or C or D, but it's certainly not my go-to plan here. All right, then we have heating, so primarily boiling. And the advantage of boiling is that it does kill bacteria, parasites, and viruses. Again, it has several disadvantages. First of all, it does not remove those dead bacteria, parasites, and viruses. It does not remove synthetic chemicals, pesticides, because those do not volatilize. In other words, they don't turn into vapor and leave. They actually stay in the water. It does not help clean the dirtiness out of the water, the turbidity. It actually concentrates. It makes it dirtier because as you boil water, you're actually removing water through vapor, because it turns to vapor. Unfortunately, it does actually concentrate heavy metals, chlorine, fluoride, and pharmaceuticals because, again, those do not evaporate with the water. It only treats a small amount of water. If you're boiling water, you're doing it in a cup or a pot. It doesn't, do a lot of water. You're not going to be able to do this for your family of 4 or so very economically. And it is very, very expensive to do. However, in a pinch, the FEMA and the Red Cross and the WHO do recommend this because people can see when water is boiling and when the bubbles come up. And so they know when people see the bubbles come up, the water's boiling and that it has killed the bacteria, parasites, and viruses. But on the other hand, it has concentrated the heavy metals, the chlorine, the fluoride, the pharmaceuticals, and it's going to require some sort of fuel to do that. So ask yourself, is boiling your A game? Is that where you really want to go to filter your water? In a pinch, maybe, but certainly not where I would go as a first option. Then also in heat, we have distillation. We actually have a distiller. We have an off-grid. So we actually live off-grid here, and I talk a lot about that on my YouTube channel. But I have a battery bank of lead-acid batteries because I built that battery bank many years ago. And so I need to have distilled water for my batteries. So we do have a distiller. The advantage of having a distiller is that it does kill bacteria, parasites, and viruses, and it does remove salt. Because what you're actually drinking here is the vapor that leaves the water, and so what's being left behind is the salt because it doesn't vaporize. So the disadvantages is it does not remove synthetic chemicals or pesticides because they do not vaporize. It removes essential minerals like calcium and magnesium and phosphorus, those minerals that we need to stay alive and be healthy for our bones and muscles and tissues in our own body. Now, I don't drink water to get my minerals. That's for sure. But if the minerals are beneficial to me and they're already in the water, I want to be able to get those minerals. That is one source of me getting my minerals. So I don't want a system that removes beneficial minerals for me. It does concentrate, again, the fluorine, the chlorine, the fluoride, and the pharmaceuticals because those do not vaporize. And this is very, very expensive to run as far as amount of watts you need. I'm very conscious that I'm using solar electricity to run a distiller to make distilled water to fill my battery bank. But in a pinch, I may have to do that. But it uses a lot of water, a lot of electricity, a lot of fuel or wood. And it does have that flat taste because there are no minerals in it. We don't drink in nature distilled water because it doesn't exist. There's always some form of minerals in natural water. Okay, so that's heat. Ask yourself if heat, either boiling or distillation, would be your first choice for a water filter. And then we have ultraviolet radiation. This is kind of new to the market. It's been out for a few decades now. It kills most bacteria, and I highlight most bacteria, parasites, and viruses. And the disadvantage is it does not remove those like the other processes we talked about. And it does not remove the synthetic chemicals, pesticides, chlorine, fluoride, pharmaceuticals, heavy metals, and turbidity. The water must be very clear. So in order for this to work, you can see in this example up here, the ultraviolet tube here that's sending ultraviolet light through the water. Now, if there is a virus, for example, on a bacteria, and that ultraviolet light hits the bacteria, and the virus is on the other side, it's not going to kill that virus. If there's dirt, some debris in the water, it's not perfectly clean, the ultraviolet light will not be hitting the bacteria or the viruses and so forth. And so it may work or it may not. It really depends on how clean the water is. So typically what you'll see with ultraviolet radiation is multiple filters in front of this to get as much of the debris out of the water as possible so the ultraviolet light can hit the viruses and the bacteria. You do also have a possible portable ultraviolet light filters. They're really not filters, they just send out ultraviolet light. Again, you'd have to have very, very clean water to ensure that you've hit all the viruses and bacteria and so forth in there. I don't know how long you'd have to keep that light in there. I'm sure there are instructions that come with those portable ones. So ask yourself, is ultraviolet radiation the way that I want to make sure and ensure that my water is clean? If that meets your goals, then great. We're just talking about the different ways that water is filtered because a lot of people don't understand this, and I've spent decades studying, researching, experimenting, buying equipment to see what works best for me. Then we have filtration. First form of filtration is reverse osmosis. You can see that this is the first filtration system. The distillation also removes salt. So this removes salt, that's great. And it may remove some bacteria and parasites. Again, it depends on the reverse osmosis system and how well it's been maintained. The reason why I say that, if you look at this very typical reverse osmosis system here, you see there are multiple components here. Here's the pressure tank with the membrane in there that forces the water through the membrane to help filter out debris. Then you have these preliminary filters to help filter out the debris. Then you've got the ultraviolet light back here. So a lot of things that if one of these things goes wrong or doesn't work, it's going to affect the entire output of the entire system. This is typically underneath the faucet in the sink, underneath the sink in the kitchen. And these filters, they'll tell you that these filters should be changed every 6 months. And it gets very, very expensive to change all these filters every 6 months. And honestly, it's out of sight, it's out of mind. People who I know that have these just really honestly don't change those filters every 6 months. And they're looking at, well, it's going to be really expensive and it's kind of inconvenient. You have to get down underneath the sink and pull everything out and unscrew these and replace them. And so it's just not happening. The problem is if one of these filters, or if this, especially if the membrane in this tank breaks, all the protection that you think you've had is gone, and you can't tell, all right? Unless the chlorine filter is no longer filtering out the chlorine, and you can actually smell or taste the chlorine. But you're not going to be able to smell or taste the viruses, the bacteria, the heavy metals, the pharmaceuticals, and those things that are passing through if one of these components breaks. So the disadvantage is that it does not remove chemicals, pesticides, chlorines, fluoride, pharmaceuticals. It requires those carbon pre-filters. That the reverse osmosis system doesn't do that by itself. Those have to be removed and through these other filters before it hits the reverse osmosis system. It removes essential minerals. Again, it was going to strips out everything, literally everything out of the water. And so I don't want just to drink H2O. People think I just want the cleanest water. Well, in nature, water is not just H2O. It's just not in that environment. There's always things in the water that make the water balanced, and that's the minerals. And so, anyway, it does remove all these essential minerals. It does not kill the bacteria, viruses, and parasites. It requires the ultraviolet radiation, like I showed you up here. So many different components here that have the capability of failing, and then and you're unaware of that, and you're not getting the protection that you want. This treats only a small amount of water. Now, this is important to understand. For every 1 to 3 gallons of water, for every 1 gallon that you're filtering, you're actually throwing away 1 to 3 gallons of water down the drain that you never see. So it may take 4 gallons of water to get 1 gallon of drinking water through the reverse osmosis system. It's very slow to filter. It's extremely wasteful. And so if you are in a situation where water is very valuable to you and you do not want to be wasting 1 to 3 gallons of water down the drain to just get 1 gallon of water, you may want to reconsider this. The membrane, like I mentioned, may break without you knowing it. It does require electricity. It does require water pressure. And it has a flat taste because there are no minerals in the water. So, some facts about reverse osmosis systems. Was developed for submarines because they are underwater. They do bring in ocean water, and it does filter out the salt. So that's great for all of our seamen in the submarines, so they can have clean, potable water. It was just, for laboratories and photography industry. They needed clean water, so it doesn't affect the results that they get. It is the most expensive way to filter water. It is very wasteful. It does strip out all the beneficial minerals. It's hypotonic. That means it's demineralizing. And so hypotonic means that it's in an unnatural, or what they call in the water industry, a hungry state. It's looking to become balanced and natural again because the minerals have been stripped out. It's looking for those minerals to become normal. And so when it comes in contact with minerals, it will actually pull those minerals, primarily calcium, out of whatever it's touching. It could be bones, it could be tissues, it could be organs. For example, if you put reverse osmosis in a bowl of concrete, okay, that reverse osmosis water will literally pull the lime out of the concrete, which holds the concrete together, and cause the concrete to fall apart. Because what's in the lime is calcium, which is a mineral. And that water knows that it needs to find a natural balance. And so it's pulling the minerals from whatever it touches. So it could as the last item mentions here, several studies show long-term use can make users prone to degenerative diseases such as osteoporosis, because it is pulling minerals, or can pull minerals from your bones and tissues and so forth. So it does have a purpose. It does have a design. You just have to ask yourself if this meets all the water filtration goals that you have for your home. And then we also in filtration, and the last process here is either with ceramic filters or charcoal filters. And there's a couple processes here. One is called microfiltration or tortuous path. This is actually this ceramic filter right here under a microscope. And you can see this tortuous path that the water has to go through. And so what happens is that if there is a bacteria that's going through this tortuous path, it may make it through this hole here, but the next holes are not lined up, and so it may not be able to make it through there or can't get through here. And so it just gets stuck in this tortuous path, and that is the process that's used to filter out the bacteria and other items that may filter out. The second thing is adsorption, not absorption. So it's more like adhesion or attraction. And you take a look at this filter over here. This is a Berkey charcoal filter. And you can see that it's an ionic exchange. It actually attracts things. And so even though there may be a virus or bacteria that could get through this tortuous path, due to the adsorption process, it actually kind of, it's like a magnet and sucks it and holds it to the filter, and that stops it from going through, because there's this like adhesion type of a principle going on. It's like if you have two magnets, they just kind of pull towards each other. All right, so the pros: it may remove, depending on whether you're using a ceramic or a Berkey black filter, it may remove protozoans, bacteria, viruses, chlorines, chloramines, fluorides, pharmaceuticals, heavy metals, pesticides, insecticides, herbicides, and pharmaceutical products, depending on the filter. Now, I know that the black Berkey filter does that, and I'll show you the data, but I don't recommend, and I don't use ceramic filters because they have a shelf life. First of all, they have activated charcoal in here. And once that charcoal gets wet, it has a 6-month shelf life, and it's done. Because what happens is the bacteria will get into the water will go through this white filter up here, this ceramic filter, and the bacteria will be stuck in the filter because that's what the filter does. But then the bacteria will continue to grow in the filter. And so that's why on the packaging they say throw it away after 6 months. Even if you just used it once for a family reunion and you put it back on the shelf, at 6 months later you have to throw that away because that bacteria has been growing in there, and you may actually be drinking more bacteria than what's going into the filter because it's been growing in that filter. So if you are using the white candle filters, make sure you're getting rid of those every 6 months. Otherwise, you could literally you get a bacteria growing lab in here, and you could be drinking more bacteria. That is not the case with the Berkey black filter. It does have silver in it, and it has some other things in here. Actually, it's called an element. Berkey calls these the black Berkey element because there are 10 different elements, components that actually work with the filtration system. So it does not have a shelf life. You can use it once, dry it out, and put it back on the package and put it on the shelf, and it's going to be just as good as the day you bought it because there is not going to be any bacterial growth inside of that. So that was a real big plus for me when I came across that. Other advantages to these systems are that they are very inexpensive. Using the black Berkey filter, you're actually filtering water for 2 cents a gallon. And it's removing all the protozoans, bacteria, viruses, chlorines, and so forth, heavy metals, pharmaceuticals. It does not require any fuel, electricity, wood. That was a big plus for me. I was looking for something that would work off-grid in case there was no electricity, no power, something I didn't have to boil. It can filter a lot of water, and it does so quite quickly. The Berkey that my wife and I have, We have 2 filters in it, but we have 2 extra filters. Actually, we have more than 2 extra filters in our food storage as backups. So if we have, for some reason, a lot of people coming over to a house for a long period of time, we can take out those other filters and double the flow rate of the filter. So it can filter water very, very quickly. You can see that on my website at ldsprepperstore.com. It does not require any water pressure, which is awesome. I don't want to have water pressure in order to make this work. And it can be, it is lightweight and portable. The cons, it does not remove salt. If you have a water softener, do not use a ceramic or charcoal filter because it's going to clog up the filter almost instantly. So you got to find water that doesn't have salt water in it. When I was at my father-in-law's house I guess about a month ago with my wife, he has a soft water system on his house, and so I'd go outside with my portable Berkey water filter. I should have grabbed it here, but I have a water bottle, and I would just take outside and get the water from the tap outside that did not go to the soft water, and I was able to filter my water there. So when I was in California at my father's house, I took my sport bottle water filter, and I just used that to filter all the water. He also has a reverse osmosis system in his home to remove the salt that he's put into the water so that he doesn't have hard water in his house. And so he's drinking the reverse osmosis system water, which is would not be my first choice, or second or third or fourth. So it does not remove, that's the disadvantage, it does not remove salt. However, and it can also be very confusing because there are several different manufacturers and they have different ratings and so forth. So let's go over that. Okay. So for me, this was a really good solution because it did not take electricity. I could do it without water pressure. It filtered out all those heavy metals, pesticides, herbicides, pharmaceuticals, and so forth that I didn't want. And it does let the beneficial minerals come through. So I have great tasting water. You can see that on my YouTube videos as I review those waters, the water filter. So here's a couple well-known brands of the Sawyer Mini and the LifeStraw. Just want to give you a comparison between these two. All right, so both of them have really excellent ratings on removing bacteria. You can see it's 99.99999% of all bacteria for both of these, LifeStraw and the Sawyer Mini. It removes protozoa. It surpasses EPE standards for water filters. This is the gotcha. Okay, this is the something we're going to go into more detail about. So this sounds good and makes people feel good, but so my question is, well, what are the EPA standards? And that's what we're going to go over here. Okay, it filters down to 0.1 micron. It filters up to 100,000 gallons here and 264 gallons over here of contaminated water. And it's ultralight and easy to move. Okay, so more importantly than what it does do, remember, ask yourself, what does it not do? And so what do these not do? They do not remove inorganic non-metal contaminants. It does not remove. They do not remove pesticides. They do not remove semi-volatile elements. They do not remove heavy metals. They do not remove pharmaceuticals, and they do not remove petroleum products. So, if you can see yourself doing this, and you want to simply remove protozoans of bacteria, then this is a system for you. I would rather take my Berkey Sport bottle, walk up to this stream or river, stoop, just dip my Berkey Sport bottle into that, put this cap back on, and drink it, and I know that I'm removing every viruses, bacteria, pharmaceuticals, heavy metals, all those kind of things from the water. I'm not having to lay down on my stomach to do it. I'm not becoming a target if things are bad and I'm trying to keep moving. I don't want to be laying down by a water source. So, Sawyer, this is, as you can see from the Sawyer's official website, it talks about taste. The Sawyer filter removes taste that comes from bacteria, dirt, and green matter. Chemicals. The Sawyer filter does not remove iron, sulfur, other chemicals, or simple components. Taste can be masked by using flavor additives like Gatorade or Crystal Light. Filter needs to be cleaned immediately after using them. So they're telling you it's not going to remove these items here, and it can really affect the taste of it. So to mask, to cover up the flavor, they're suggesting that you add sugar or flavoring to the water and filter it through the water that way, which is going to say, as they say here, clog up the filter because you need to immediately fill it up. Do I want those things masked, or do I want them removed from my water? You'd have to ask yourself that question. The Sawyer filter is not made with charcoal. So what they recommend that you do is try to find a better source of water, if possible. Well, you may be in a situation where you can't find a better source of water. And so you're stuck with the limitations of the capabilities of the filter that you have. Ask yourself if that is going to meet all your water filtration system goals. With me, I'd just rather grab my Berkey sport bottle, dip it in whatever water it is, a river, lake, stream, swimming pools, and filter my water that way. Okay, so these filters said that it meets the EPA standard for a water filter. Well, surprisingly or unsurprisingly, there are two standards. One is the ANSI or NSF 42 standard, which is basically for aesthetics. It will make things, aesthetics certification meets is designed to minimize non-health related contaminants such as chlorine, which is questionable whether that's non-health related, but it's primarily for taste and odor, okay, and to get kind of particulates, dirt and stuff out. That's NS42. So most of the filters you see out there, most of them, 99% of them will meet this standard of making your water taste better. However, the gold standard in water filtration is NSF 53, and this is the health standard. So water filters with NSF 53 certifications are meant to reduce health-related contaminants. Now this is what I'm interested in. I want healthy water that may be present in public or private drinking water. Filters that meet the standard 53 requirements are able to minimize exposure to microbiological, chemical, or particulate contaminants that may be hazardous to your health. So a little light went off in my head when I was learning about this. I want a filter that is NSF 53 certified, not 42. So what does that mean? Well, here's some testing that results from some of the major water filters that you may be familiar with: Zero Water, Waterman, Pure, Seychelle, Katadyn, Brita, and so forth. And it says here, minus sign signifies an increase in the element rather than a decrease. So we can see here that Zero Water removes 100% of the aluminum, and so does the Waterman. But you can see Pure Water actually increases by 46% the amount of aluminum that you're drinking after you run the water through the water filter. The reason is because they use aluminum to filter chlorine. And so the aluminum comes out of the water filter, and you're actually ending up drinking more aluminum in your glass than was actually in the water that came out of the faucet. The Seychelle also increases the amount of aluminum that you're drinking in the water. The Katadyn increases the amount of aluminum that you're drinking out of your cup by 52%, and the Brita does it by 33.9%. And you can see the source data here from this testing. So that would be the disadvantages of these systems. Another disadvantage would be They are extremely, extremely expensive to use. We're talking 50 cents a gallon, $1.06 a gallon, 17 cents a gallon, 37 cents, 18 cents, 14 cents, and 16 cents. Compared to the Berkey water filter, which removes all these, doesn't increase the amount of aluminum you're drinking, and the Berkey does it for only 2 cents. But the biggest disadvantage is that these can only be used with potable water. In other words, you would never take your Zero water or your Pure or your Seychelle or your Colgan or Brita and dip it into a swimming pool. You would never dip it into a river or stream. This is only made to work with already treated water from the city. So, none of these met any of my requirements that I was interested in, and it was super expensive, and it only worked with potable water. All right, so according to Zero Water's website, the FAQ page, does Zero Water remove fluoride? No. Uranium? No. Arsenic? No. Chloramine? No. Phenol? No. Cryptosporidium? No. Bacteria? No. The current system is meant to be used with municipally treated potable water, as the current filter will not remove microbiological contaminants. So, to keep that in mind when you're searching for a water filtration system. All right, so here's a Seychelle. Seychelle has several different water filters you can see here. These are the small water filters. And they list chemicals and heavy metals and bacteria and viruses and giardia and so forth. But if you notice here on this chart, and this is why I say it can be confusing, and that some of these work and some of them don't, because they have so many different models. Which model, do you have? Which one did you buy, and what does it remove? Does the regular water filter, the Seychelle, remove viruses and bacteria? No, it doesn't. And that's the water pitcher one. Does the standard water filter remove bacteria and viruses? No. The water bottle, the standard one, does not remove viruses and bacteria. Does the advanced water filter remove a radiological or increased alkaline? No. So at least it's removing chemicals, fluorine, heavy metals, and so forth. So it gets very confusing which system that you want to get. If you're going to get a Seychelle, I would make sure that I was getting the extreme water filter, the one that has the majority of the check marks, versus the ones that don't. So, Berkey makes one water bottle. It removes all of these items, including radiation, and you don't have to worry about, does the Berkey remove this or that, because it removes all of it. And here's another great chart that I found from a website here on Pure Effect, and they're comparing their system with other systems here. Ionizers, faucet mounts, distillers, gravity fed, reverse osmosis, and comparing it to their system here. Okay, so the big problem with this is that all of these systems, other than the gravity fed one, are only made to work with city water. Again, you cannot use any of these faucet mounts, ionizers, distillers, reverse osmosis, or the Pure Effect Ultra with anything but city water. So, for me, that kind of removed all of them and left this one standing. So I decided to take more look into this one here. Found a great comparison over at waterfilterslab.com. And this is the result that they came up with testing these different systems. The Zen water system, they said that it is one of the best. Unfortunately, the Zen water system says it should only be used with potable city water. So that removed it from using it for lakes, rivers, streams, swimming pools, and so forth. The Pro Pure water filter, they said, even the newer filters did not perform nearly as well as the Big Berkey in our testing. So they said a no on that. What about the Crystal Drop water filter? Crystal Drop water filter should be avoided, was their conclusion. What about the Dalton water filter? Dalton water filters should be considered largely ineffective. Well, what did they have to say about the Berkey? Berkey is the best performing gravity water filter available on the market today. So that caught my attention. So I decided to find out what the real results are. And so I was able to get the actual test results from an independent EPA certified lab on the Berkey black purification element. Remember I said that Blackie calls these elements because, and we call them filters, but they call them elements because there's 10 different elements that make up their unique system. Nobody else has the same filter that Berkey has. It's a copyright issue. It's a trademark issue. Okay, it's a trade secret issue. Okay, so I was able to find this report. I will have a link below this video so you can read this report yourself. Because remember, when someone says it does something, I always say, show me the report. And I've had dozens of different manufacturers come to me and say, I want you to promote my product, and say, show me the report. Well, the reports are, let's say, faulted. All right, let's just take a look at this report to show you what a good report looks like. First of all, this is an EPA certified laboratory, not just an instrument. They could have a microscope that's EPA certified, but the laboratory isn't. And so they would not be using EPA certified procedures in the laboratory, even though they may have one device that is EPA certified. So don't be fooled by that. Make sure that it's an EPA certified lab, and you can see that you can see the certification numbers up here at the top of the report. Okay, so this is test results for the New Millennium Concept, which is the company that makes the Berkey, and where they are located. The black Berkey purification element, what are they testing for? They're testing for, remember the two standards, the 53 standard and the 42. So the aesthetic standard and also the health standard. And they're testing for chemical reductions. All right, so there's a lot of systems that say out there, all right, we're the best, we're really good. Matter of fact, our system does it all. That's what Aquamire says. And I'm not beating up on any particular brand here. I'm just showing you what, kind of marketing, what they do here. 99.9% of cryptospermidium. All right, that's what they're showing. So this is an NF2 certified water filter, and this is the Berkey NSF 53 certified water filter. How do they compare? Well, you can see from their own website, from Aquamire's website, that it does make the water taste better, which is NS42. It does remove cysts. It may remove viruses, depending which filter you have. It may remove bacteria. It may remove inorganic non-materials. It may remove E. coli and fecal matter and pesticides. It does not remove pesticides. It does not remove semi-volatiles. It does not remove heavy metals. It does not remove pharmaceuticals or petroleum products. What about the NSF 53 certified? Yes, 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 all the way down. No question whether your water is 100% safe to drink with the Berkey Sport water bottle. That's why I have the Berkey. Okay. All right, so let's take a little deeper dive now that we understand more of the NF standards of 42 and 53. First thing is, this is critical, and if the report doesn't have this, I would just walk away. I want to know the contaminant level before they did the filtration. It is not uncommon for a lab to take very, very clean water, maybe even boiled water or reverse osmosis water that has everything stripped out of it, and show you later that it has 99.9% pure, when it started out with 99.9% pure. So this laboratory did it absolutely the way that I would do it, and they're showing you the contaminant level before filtration and then the contaminant level after filtration. And you can see after the filtration, it's 99.9% pure. And it's actually 99.9999999% pure. That's how much it removes. So all of these different things here, for example, and I can't pronounce all these, but this is for the pesticide contaminants. And for example, PCBs, I remember growing up knowing that PCBs is a bad thing to have. And so this had a very high level of PCBs, 10%. And it moved it down to, they couldn't even measure it, less than 0.05%, so 99.9%. Then we have semi-volatile contaminants down here. For example, like diazinon, that's a pesticide, actually an herbicide that's very, very dangerous for people to be consuming, but we find it in water sources all the time. Then further along in this report, it shows the pH level testing. Now this is very important. As someone who grows food and knows a lot about pH, if you have acidic water or you have alkaline water, whether it's acidic or alkaline, will determine how much of those chemicals or minerals are available or are released into the water. So they're doing a acidic and an alkaline test here for these heavy metals. And you can see aluminum removed 99%, arsenic removed 99.9%, cadmium removed 99.7%, lead removed 99.9%. In this 6.5 pH water. Mercury, again, 99.9%. And then also in the heavy metal, we see here at 8.5 pH, again, it removes all these heavy metals here. What about pesticides? Yes, it removes all of these pesticides, DDT and DDT and so forth. I can't, again, pronounce all these. But look at the befores and the afters, and it is considerable. It's removing all of these. Semi-volatiles, disinfectants and inorganic non-metallic contaminants, pharmaceuticals. It's removing all these things. Remember we saw caffeine in the water from the Santa Ana reservoir. And so regardless of your water source, the Berkey black filter, not the Berkey ceramic filter, but the Berkey black filter, will remove those. Gasoline, diesel, crude oil, kerosene, mineral spirits, refined oil, chloroform, fecal chloroform, E. coli, 99.9% on all of those. So that is the kind of report that I'm looking for. I have not, from any other manufacturer, been able to find a detailed report like this that shows that their filter has had this amount of contaminants before, this amount after, and the actual amount removed. So I was very, very excited to run across the Berkey water filtration system. I am now an authorized Berkey distributor because of all the testing and all the money I spent finding out which was the safe system for my family. So, does the Berkey remove protozoan? Yes. Bacteria? Yes. Viruses? Yes. Chlorines and chloramines? Yes. Fluoride, pharmaceuticals, heavy metals, pesticides, and petroleum products? Yes, on all of those. Does it work with city water? Yes. Does it work in river, streams, lakes? Yes. Rainwater, well water? Yes. Salt water? Nope. It doesn't work on salt water. Well, you know, in the almost decade or more that I've been using my Berkey water filter, I've never had to filter salt water. So there's plenty of water around me that I can find that isn't salt water. So it's been able to filter all the water that I've tested: rivers, streams, swimming pools, city water, every water source except for salt water. Everyday use, yes, I can use it every day. We have ours sitting on our island in our kitchen. Can I use it in an emergency? Yes. Is it portable? Absolutely. We take it camping with us. Do I need water pressure? No. Do I need fuel to use to make it work as a filter? No. How many does it filter enough water for my wife and me, and for family, and so friends, and for when we entertain? Yes, absolutely. I would recommend the Royal system, and I'll talk about that here in a second. Can I test it when the filter is not working? This was critical for me to know. Yes, I can absolutely at any time test to see whether the Berkey water filter system, either in the sports bottle or in the system, is working by using the red dye test. And you simply put in a teaspoon of red dye per gallon of water. You run through the filter, and you can see right there in front of you whether the filter is working or not. There's never any question whether the Berkey water filter is working. And yes, it does all of this, and it does it for 2 cents a gallon. So if you were to buy two Berkey water filters, which are currently $120 on my website, I'm just going to grab my calculator here, and I'm going to grab my calculator, and I'm going to take those two filters will filter 6,000 gallons of water. I'm going to divide that by $120. let's see, $120 divided by 6,000, and I get 2 cents per gallon. 2 cents per gallon. Not $1, not 18 cents, not 20 cents. 2 cents per gallon, and I'm removing all the pesticides, heavy metals, pharmaceuticals, all those things from my water, and there's no guessing on it. When my daughter called me from San Diego and says, "Dad, my daughter-in-law, Dad, we have a warning that we have to boil our water. Do we have to boil the water if we're using the Berkey?" I told her, no. Just go ahead and put the water in the Berkey. It will remove all the bacteria which was causing the alert, because the water filtration system plant stopped working. It'll remove the viruses. It'll remove all those. Don't worry about it. That was years ago. She just ran the water through her Berkey, didn't have any problems. What's the first thing to go in a store in an emergency? Bottled water, right? Why? And people are paying insane amount for water. That's all it's been done is been added some flavor to it to make it taste better, or maybe gone through reverse osmosis and they add some more flavor to make it taste better. The Berkey water filter water tastes great because it's removed all those nasty things and left you with healthy water. Okay, so for me, the Berkey water filter system does meet all my goals. Now, Berkey has several different systems here. This is the sport bottle that I've been talking a lot about. I've taken my sport bottle to Russia, to China, to Canada, to Utah, to California. Everywhere I go, if I'm out of my house, I'm taking my sport water bottle. I take it with me on airplanes. Everywhere I go, I'm using the sport water bottle. That has the exact same black filters as all these other systems. It just has a smaller filter in it. This is the Berkey Light system. This is made out of plastic, as you can see. It has its place. I don't really recommend it because if it falls over, it will probably crack, and then you have to buy a whole new system. I think you're money ahead by getting a stainless steel system. Not because they just look better, because they really are more durable. Berkey tells you, actually, again, the only official Berkey website is berkeywater.com. That is the official Berkey website. You as a customer cannot buy water filters there because they only sell through distributors. Don't get confused by other websites that have Berkey this or Berkey that. Those may or may not be official authorized dealers. LDS Prepper Store is an authorized dealer, but on the official Berkey water filter system at website at berkeywater.com, they even tell you that you need to make sure that you're removing the water out of here because light is coming through this plastic, and if you have water standing in here in this lower tank, you can get growth growing in here or even up here, which I have experienced personally with family members who have this system and who also had it get knocked off the counter and get cracked, so they had to replace it. They would have been money ahead by buying a stainless steel system. So this is the Go system. They no longer have that available. That has one filter in it. Due to the supply chain issue right now worldwide, they've really limited their production, focused their production on these three models right here, the Travel, the Big Berkey, and the Royal. I would recommend the Royal. Let's talk about these. The only difference here is the capacity. They all use the same black Berkey filters that will remove all those pesticides and herbicides and pharmaceuticals and everything for you at 2 cents a gallon. Doesn't need water pressure, doesn't need electricity, uses gravity. The Travel will hold 1.5 gallons. You can see the size here. This may fit underneath your kitchen cabinets. The Big Berkey is 8.5 inches tall. That may fit under your kitchen cabinet. This one, 9.5, may fit under the kitchen cabinet. We have ours sitting on our counter, our island in our kitchen. This will hold, the Travel holds up to 2 filters. The Big and the Royal hold up to 4 filters. You can buy it either with 2 filters, and it will come with 2 plugs, or you buy it with 4 filters, and it will still come with 2 plugs. I recommend buying with 4 filters, and you get the plugs anyway. Put 2 filters in there, use it, see if it filters it fast enough for you. For my wife and me, it filters more than fast enough. I will fill up the top tank, and it'll be filtered in an hour and a half, 2 hours down in the bottom. So as for, they used to make Imperial and the Imperial and Crown, but they still do, but it could be up to 6 months or more waiting period, because those are actually on special order and they don't make very many of them. I actually had a customer wait 6 months to get her Imperial. I don't recommend that. Don't be the person who's waiting to buy a laptop until they had come out with the best laptop, because that's never going to happen. You don't want to be the person who's waiting for the Imperial or Crown, and these things are huge. I mean, you got to be pretty proud of your Berkey, because these things take up a lot of space. So anyway, I wouldn't recommend getting these because they are back ordered. I would recommend getting a Big Berkey or Royal. Big Berkey is the most popular, absolutely hands down the most popular system they sell. And there's I think a $33 difference between these two here. Again, this is 2 1/4 gallons and this is 3 1/4 gallons. I just have this sitting on my island in my kitchen, and every few days, when I can feel the water it's coming out a little bit slower because there's less water pressure, because there's less water in here, I can tell that it needs more water. I just fill up the top tank, and then it will come down here. The top tank does not hold water. You need to make sure that when you fill up the top tank that you have space down below. I recommend that you use the water pretty much all the way down to this level here, and then fill up the top, so that you're using the entire length of the filter when you're doing the filtering. Okay? Don't just keep kind of topping it off, because you'll only be using the bottom part of the filter, and the bottom part of the filter will be used up before the top part of the filter. You also can get, these all come with the plastic faucets. I've been using my plastic faucet forever. I've never bought a stainless steel faucet, but we do have stainless steel faucets. They are very nice looking. They work just as well as the plastic, but you have both those options available. We do have ours sitting on a stand on our island, so you can also get a stand, a nice stand, and they have different size stands for the systems that they make. So if the Berkey water filter system is one that meets your goals for removing all those nasties from the water, and it does it for 2 cents a gallon, then I encourage you to go to ldsprepperstore.com. I am an authorized dealer, and I have an exclusive LDS Prepper lifetime warranty on the system. You can read about that over on my website, but when you come over to the website, you will be able to select between the Travel Berkey, the Big Berkey, and the Royal Berkey, and the accessories of the stainless steel faucet and the stands. Okay? All right, so let me just go over here. I hope that helps you out. I'm going to see if I can see the questions in here on my tablet. Get my tablet to work. And bring it back up here. This was really kind of eye-opening to me when I first started looking at water filtration systems. And boy, did I learn a lot from really getting into the reports. Trying to see if I can't get to the comments. What? Feedback. Hopefully I have comments turned on. Let me check. Yeah, I'm sure I have comments turned on. Give me a second here. I'm just going to bring myself up here and see if I can't find comments. Let's see. Sure, I have comments turned on. All right. Let me turn off my speaker. Give me a second here. All right, so I do have some comments here. Thank you very much. And thank you so much for your thumbs up. I really appreciate that. Please share this information with your friends and family. This literally could be life-saving. All right, so let's see. We've got, yes, we can hear you. Thank you very much. Let's see. Thank you for remembering people to click the thumbs up. Shelly Cook, what kind would you use for the Detroit River water? I would use a Berkey water filter. Now, when I was doing my testing and when we go camping with it, when I'm dipping water out of rivers and streams and so forth, there's a lot of organic matter in those waters. So use a pre-filter, like a t-shirt, filter the water through that and get all kind of the moss and junk, that's floating down the river. Or I actually have a 5-gallon filter that I bought. I will put a link down below this to help pre-filter the organic material from the water, and that will help you be able to keep the Berkey filter cleaner longer. So also we were using the water from our greenhouse that was coming through the dehumidifier and putting that through the Berkey. And that had a really earthy smell to it because there's a lot of organic matter in the 30-gallon barrel. So I, again, would put it through a pre-filter, a 5-gallon pre-filter, and there's different micron sizes, so I will give you a link down below after this video renders to the one that I recommend. You just put the pre-filter in a 5-gallon bucket, dump the river water, whatever, into there. The pre-filter will hold a bunch of the junk organic material, and then remove that filter and then just pour the water into your Berkey. So I would recommend probably the big Berkey or the Berkey Royal for the Detroit River water or any river water. If you're hiking or backpacking or camping, whatever, you can just use a sport bottle and that would work great for you. Let's see. KJV Mama says she just joined and she's enjoying her gardening book. Please, thank you. Good to hear that. Please take a look at my video, How to Grow Food as If Your Life Depends on It, to learn more about the Mid-Atlantic Gardening Course book. Miss MT Shasta, does the Berkey remove magnesium? No, it does not. It leaves all the beneficial nutrients in the water. Can't wait to watch the whole video. I'm expecting guests. I have a Royal Berkey and a Travel Berkey. Can you please just say if you like Berkey? I have 4 filters and 4 fluoride filters. Yes, I love Berkey. Now, the reason why I became an authorized Berkey dealer is because I was doing, after all my research, found that the Berkey was the best offer, and people filter, and people were asking me, what do you recommend? I said Berkey. And then I realized that as an authorized dealer, I could give them better pricing than if I just referring them to anybody. And so I became an authorized dealer well after I made those previous videos on my YouTube channel about the Berkey testing. That was before I was ever a dealer. I became a dealer so I could get you the best pricing. So you buying a Berkey through my ldsprepperstore.com supports this channel. And I don't recommend ceramic filters. But if you are in city water and you're worried about fluoride or arsenic, you can add additional fluoride filters to the black Berkey. They just screw right into the bottom of the black Berkey. The thing is that most Berkey dealers won't tell you because they want to sell you a bunch of filters, is that the black Berkey filters will remove the fluoride and the arsenic for the first 1,000 gallons. And so you don't need to add the fluoride and arsenic filters until you've done 1,000 gallons worth of filtration. Well, how do you know if you've done 1,000 gallons worth of filtration? Well, as you're using your Berkey with the black Berkey filters in it, you're using your system, you're going to learn after a while how many times a week or a month or a week that you refill that system. And so you'll be able to very quickly do the math, how many gallons you're using a day and how many days that would take for you to get to 1,000 gallons. Now, the 2 black Berkey filters that my wife and I have in our system, let's just do some math here. I'll grab my calculator again. And let's say, for example, that between my wife and I, let's say, for example, that we drink 2 gallons of water a day. Excuse me, a gallon for her and a gallon for me. So we know that's going to filter 6,000 gallons. So we got 6,000 gallons. And we're going to divide that by 2 gallons a day. That's going to give us 3,000 days. Okay, now we're going to divide that by 365 days. And that gives us 8 years, 8.21 years that our Berkey water filter, black Berkey filters will last us. Those two filters will last us 8.25 years before we ever have to replace them. So people are using these faucet mount systems that don't remove pesticides and herbicides and so forth, and can be adding aluminum to your drinking water and paying horrendous amounts of money for. You can literally put in these two black filters and have them for 5, 10 years, even longer, depending on how much water you drink a day. So I like having backups, so I have some extra in my food storage panel, food storage in my house, but we use two filters in our system all the time. And we entertain people come over. We don't have any problem with not having enough water, with just having the two filters in there, and we have no problem with it filtering fast enough. So I'd recommend you get whatever you want. You certainly, every system comes with at least two filters. I'd recommend getting 4 and just having 2 in there. If you're finding that isn't filtering fast enough for you, then I would put in the other 4, or the other 2. Okay. Let's see. I have a Berkey now. I'm looking for something for desalination. I live in the coast with no fresh water readily available. So great, Tina, thank you. We talked about the 2 different things that will help you with salt water. So you would use those for your solution there. Rain from the sky is distilled water. Rain from the sky is not distilled water. I'm sorry. It is distilled. It doesn't have as much junk in it as a river does, but rain is coming down through the sky. Do you think the sky is 100% free of any contaminants? You don't think that anything's being sprayed in the sky? Any debris is in the sky, dirt, whatever? Water is not rainwater is not distilled water. It's certainly not dirty water like in a river or stream, but it's certainly not it's not like that at all. How does the AquaPure water filter compare to the Berkey and others? AlexaPure is I don't know if I'd call it a knockoff, but they're certainly trying to be Berkey. The difference between the big difference between the AquaPure is that their filters are about like this big. They come pre-packaged in water. If they ever dry out, you throw them away. You cannot recharge, and I believe it's the AlexaPure water filters. With the Berkey water filters, we went down to my father-in-law's for 2 weeks, came back. Of course, we didn't use the Berkey here at home at all, and those filters were dry. I just put more water in the top, and the Berkey filters started working again. So the Berkey filters can be used. They have an indefinite shelf life, like I mentioned, but you don't ever have to worry about them not working if they've dried out. Just prime them again if you need to. When we came back from my father-in-law's house, we didn't need to prime them, and we were able to start filtering our water immediately. I can't tell you. I can tell you the quality of the Berkey. I would not. I don't have the data for the AlexaPure, but I would. If they're within $50 of each other, I just wouldn't. I just wouldn't bet my life on anything else. I know that the Berkey is the best, and it is considered the gold star of the industry. I have a big Berkey with 2 of the black elements and 2 of the white elements. Very good. I got my Berkey Royal this week. Everything looks good. Haven't hooked it together yet. This video is right on time. Good. Glad to hear that. Again, you can get yours at ldsprepperstore.com. How much is the Berkey Sport bottle? I don't remember. I have all the discounted prices on my website. And you don't have to worry about adding any coupon codes at the checkout. I've already reduced all the prices. So all those items are on sale. So don't have to worry about contacting or finding a discount code. No need for that. Okay, sounds like I need to get a Berkey sports bottle. I would recommend that. Wow, aluminum, not good. I would agree with that. What's in stored bottled water? Well, the bottled water industry is an unregulated industry. When we were in Mexico, and this is not the U.S., but in Mexico, we were told not to make sure that when we bought water at a restaurant, to have them bring the bottle to the table and then to open it up with it, and so we could see that the seal, it was actually sealed, because it's been known that they will just simply take the water bottle out to the back, fill it up with a garden hose in some non-reputable places, restaurants, and you're drinking faucet water in Mexico, which is not a good idea. In the United States, again, it's an unregulated industry. They can have anything in that water. It doesn't make any difference. It could literally come from a faucet, and you're not getting any health benefits from it. When you're spending $1, $2, $3 for a little container of water, that's just craziness to me. I always bring my sports bottle with me, and so I don't pay those outrageous prices for bottled water. They did a water test at a very high-end restaurant where they were bringing in bottle water in this very expensive-looking container and showing it to the people at the table and asking them to taste the water and do kind of a comparison. They were literally filling up the bottle in the faucet in the back of the restaurant, outside, and the people were saying how wonderful the water tastes and so forth. It all may be psychological, but they were told it was literally coming from the faucet, and they actually showed it on the Scam Buster, whatever it was, video. D-Synergy says, great, thanks for the information. How long do the Berkey water filters last? Again, each filter will do 3,000 gallons. You use them in a set, so you're going to be filtering 6,000 gallons. If you're using 1 gallon a day, it's going to last you 16 years. If you're using 2 gallons a day, it's going to last you 8.2 years. If you're using 4 gallons a day, then it's going to last you 4 years. Okay? So a long, long time. Okay. I've got the Berkey Royal. If this is what I'm using, if things hit the fan, so many people will filter enough water how many people? That's a great question, Mary. How many gallons of water can you filter a day? And let me just go to my website and I'll just take a look. So I'm just going to bring up the Royal filter, and it says here, let's see, fully configured, that means with 4 filters, this system can serve up to 100 to 200 people a day during an emergency. 100 to 200 people a day with the Royal system. Okay? So that's a lot of water. Okay, so let's go back to the questions. Thanks for asking that question. It's a very important question. So with the Royal system, the difference is the capacity, because the mechanism is still the same. It's just how often are you going to fill up that container. The Royal will handle 100 to 200 people a day. Okay. How does it remove the bacteria, viruses? Does it electrocute them? Great question. No, it actually holds them in the filter, and either by the electrical magnetic attraction, like I mentioned to you about, or the tortuous path, it actually keeps them in the filter. Okay. Let's see. Mary CB says, I may have to go to the dam flowing through farms land picking up contaminants. How often will the filters last? I have 4 black filters now. How many filters will I need for a year? I think we covered that. So how many filters do you need? You're worried about the water going through farmland and picking up contaminants. I'm on a well water. My well is right next to a farm here, a potato farm, and we filter all our water through our Berkey. So, and our Berkey will last us 8 years at 2 gallons a day. Have some extras on hand. I'd recommend that. Can the Berkey be used if you have a soft water system in your house? Only if you're not if you can't put soft water into it. Find the faucet outside that doesn't have the soft water hooked up to it, and you can use it that way. My only problem is I want cold water to drink. Do I filter them into a pitcher and put it in the refrigerator? Yes, that's what we do. I don't drink cold water. It's cold enough here in Idaho. But yes, I would simply, and we've done this when we entertain, is we run the water through the Berkey filter. We fill up a pitcher and we put the pitcher in the refrigerator. Absolutely. The little water filters that you have on the back of your refrigerator, those are only there for flavor. That's the ANSI 42, not the 53. Those are not helping you remove heavy metals, pharmaceuticals, any of those other things. It's just to make it taste better. I need a Berkey to carry. Yes, use the Berkey Sport for carrying. I've had my Berkey for a year now, and I absolutely love it. That's good to know. Thank you very much for sharing that. I just bought a travel Berkey from you a couple weeks ago. On your site, you mentioned that you fully configured the system can serve up to 33 to 65 people a day during an emergency. Yes, all you would need to do is when you use up the water down below, you just fill up the top and you just keep that water flowing, and it will continue to give healthy, clean water to everybody there. I'm in Utah visiting until Monday. Very good. I live in Wyoming. Can I come and get one while I'm there? I actually ship these directly from the manufacturer to you. So you have the advantage of the full manufacturer warranty and my exclusive LDS Prepper Store lifetime warranty. And so don't have to worry about coming to my place to pick them up. They ship directly to you from the manufacturer. I could not find the LDS Prepper Store. Go to ldsprepperstore.com, ldsprepperstore.com, and that will get you to the right place. You'll see my little logo up in the upper left-hand corner with Noah's Ark. How are people living in suburbs, in towns with no lakes, etc., going to access water? It's a great question. So, swimming pools, fountains, rivers, streams, unless you're like in a very arid place like Arizona and you're out in the country, there's a lot of water. I found a lot of water everywhere. What I did when I was in Texas is I actually just brought up my house on Google Maps, and I did a zoomed out, and I saw where all the water reservoirs were in my area. I mean, lakes and ponds and all the swimming pools and so forth. So I was able to see a lot of water available. So be aware where you are. Store water if you can. I have 6 275-gallon totes full of water that I keep with my rain catchment system. I have a hand pump on my water well. I've got a dozen 30-gallon barrels full of water. So water is very, very important to me, and I make sure that I have it on hand. I make sure that I have my Berkey water filters, my sport bottle, and my my large tabletop system, and I'm ready to go. So if you're in the suburbs, make sure that you are thinking about water. Do not buy those 1-gallon jugs of water and store them in your house, because those plastic jugs are made to biodegrade, and we've had them dissolve and all that water run through the carpet in the second floor, down through the electrical outlet for my light in my office. It's a mess. So don't store water in those 1-gallon water jugs. How does it handle hard water? I'm in Arizona. Yes, we are here in Arizona. In Idaho, we have very hard water. The hard water is the minerals. Those are beneficial to your body, so those will come through. You'll get those minerals in your water, and you'll be able to drink those. But it will remove all the contaminants, pesticides, herbicides, pharmaceuticals, and so forth. It works great. I'm running on well water right now. I'm cleaning my system, my filters about every year and a half, and when I was on city water, about the same amount of time. When you notice that it's taking longer than normal to filter the water, just take the black Berkey filters out, run them underneath the faucet and use a Scotch-Brite pad, just kind of clean off the surface of the filters and put them back in, and you're good to go. I recommend all move to Great Lakes areas, trillions of gallons of water here. Yes, a lot of water there. And again, wherever your water source is, I would recommend that you filter the water. Hi, joining late. When will you be getting the largest Berkey back in stock? Thanks. Again, the largest Berkeys are months in back order. They're special ordered by the dealers. I would encourage you, because I don't know when things are going to, when you won't be able to get things, that you would just get a big Berkey or a Royal. The Royal will, like I said, be able to supply water for 100 to 200 people a day as you fill that up during the day. Let's see. Can you put the portable water bottle in the fridge without affecting the filters? Yes. In any water filter, don't freeze the filter, but you can certainly put the sports bottle with the water in it into the refrigerator and let that chill and then drink it. Yes, absolutely. Not a problem. West Coast is drying up. We all may need to move to Great Lakes. Yes. Website is ldsprepperstore.com. Okay. Sorry, last comment was not correct. It's sent before I meant. Okay. They're just correcting the URL. My well water is very limey, so my filters only last a year. That could be, and that may be because you have so much material in that water. Again, and I think you've ordered from me before, Teresa. That may be the case, and I would just encourage you to back flush the filters. I would encourage everybody to get a primer. Because that will help you back flush the filters if you've got a lot of, like you said here, lime in your water. And it'll also help you prime the filters if you don't have water pressure to prime them. There is a link to his website in most videos. If you cannot find it, I got my Berkey in the mail last week. Good. So again, it's ldsprepperstore.com. Let's see. California and Utah is drying out, massive drought. We're selling and moving out. West Coast, Great Lakes, here we come. Do I need a filter primer? You don't need. I would recommend one. I have two. Okay, one is none, two is one. So I do have two myself personally. I've never used them because I do currently have water pressure, so I've been able to use my faucet to pressurize to prime my filters. But I'm always anticipating that I may need a primer, so I do actually have two. Again, you would use the primer if you don't have water pressure to prime the filter, or if you want to back flush the filter, that's a good way to do it too. Okay, how long will it take to receive the Berkey if we order today? It'll probably ship on Monday, and it ships either FedEx or UPS 3 days. So Wednesday, Thursday next week, if you order it today. How do you know if the Berkey water filtration system gets nanoparticles, microorganisms out of the water? A great question, and I'll have a link below this video once I'm done with the video to the report. So you can take the time, all the time you want, and go through that report line by line. Again, the only official manufacturer website is berkeywater.com. They actually have a great FAQ section there. I'll link to that for you. And to make sure that you're buying an authentic Berkey water filter, go to ldsprepperstore.com from an authorized dealer. Don't get some foreign knockoff made something that has lead in the material, in the stainless steel, or you may not get anything at all in the mail, which has been unfortunately happening a lot lately because people want to get the Berkeys. People are taking advantage of people's and just taking their money. Don't worry. Don't be concerned about that. Just come to my store and you'll be safe. Okay. How do we replace filters for sports travel bottles? You get the replacement filters. I'll add those to my website. So no need to boil water before filtering the Berkey? No, I absolutely don't need to boil water ever filtering the Berkey. If it's dirty, run it through a pre-filter, like a T-shirt or a pre-filter that I will show you. I'll have a link down below. So I need to get a drink of water here. So this is my water bottle. I've had this for years and years and years. And so what I do is I just go to my Berkey and I fill up my water bottle. So I always have my water bottle with me. But this is nice Berkey water. Best tasting water on the planet. And it's healthy. Okay. Can the Berkey filter water be stored long term? Like you recommend filtering water through the Berkey and then storing it in water storage containers so you can keep filtered water on hand? Yes. I wouldn't necessarily do it that way, but yes, you could certainly filter the water through the Berkey and put them in. I would put them in like glass containers. I know a great idea. One of our neighbors is that she goes through her food storage and she'll have these empty glasses, empty jars, glass jars. So she'll take and fill those up with water and put those into her food storage. And that's how she stores water in non-plastic bottles in her food storage. So she always has the filtered water, has water there. So if you wanted to pre-filter the water, put it in the jar, put it in long-term storage, you'd be great. Okay, gardening question. Is there a chart for mint lighter weekly feed for different size containers? Yes, when you order the LDS Prepper micronutrient mix, on there I actually show you how to figure out how much you need per square foot if you're doing per square foot versus a 30-foot long bed. So just look on the instruction there. You can also just, so on the package, with the micronutrients are the instructions. That's the easiest way to get to that. We are serving missions on the Navajo Reservation with a Native American garden project. Some folks have limited water supply during the drought. Wicking containers or sip systems may help. Yes, I use both those in my gardens. I have a video on my self-wicking systems for gardening. Is there a list of authorized dealers online? Not that I'm aware of, but you can go to ldsprepperstore.com and not have to worry about whether you're dealing with a authorized dealer or not on some other website. Again, Berkey has made it illegal for anybody to use the word Berkey in their domain any longer because it gets so confusing. And so there are some authorized dealers that have the word Berkey in their domain, but there have been many who have been scammers and use that approach. So Berkey no longer allows people to use Berkey in their name of their website. My website is ldsprepperstore.com. What is the wait line when you order a Berkey filter? There's no wait. When you order your filter today, your order will be processed today. Do Sport Berkey filters need to be primed? Sport Berkey filters do not need to be primed. Great question, because as you're using it, you're actually priming it at the same time. All right, that ends all the questions here. Thank you very much for being here. This is really important to me as a preparedness-minded person, that I have good, clean water. I could have $1 million worth of food storage, but if I get sick from Giardia and other things, and I get diarrhea, and I could literally die from dirty water. More people die every day from dirty water than all the other death-related causes in the world from simply contaminated water. Don't be one of those persons. Don't be a person like my father-in-law in California. And I talked to him when I was there. I said, Dad, what are you going to do to have clean water when the water isn't available? He says, I got a swimming pool. I said, how are you going to filter that water? He's got a saltwater filter in his house, and he's got a reverse osmosis system. Both need water pressure, both need electricity, and he can't take water from his swimming pool and use them for either of those. So are we giving him a water filter? Yes, we're giving him a water filter. He's 92 years old. We just have to make sure that he remembers how to use it. But with a Berkey sports bottle, he could literally walk out to a swimming pool, dip that into the swimming pool, and have clean, healthy water when there's no water available. He's in California. Water is an issue there. If electricity goes out, his reverse osmosis system doesn't work. I asked him how often he changed his filters. I looked underneath his faucet. It had been a long time since those filters had been replaced. And of course, there's no way of checking to see if the membrane is broken in the reverse osmosis system. Thank you very, very much for being here. So it says here, last comment, it says, the description in the website does not say the gallon size. What are they? Yeah, I'm actually looking at my website right now, and it does say the gallon size. So if you just go down and start looking in the description section, for example, I'm looking at the Royal Berkey, and the third bullet says storage capacity of 3.25 gallons. So I'll be glad to review those again for you. And the Travel Berkey has 1.5 gallons. The Big Berkey has 2.25 gallons, and the Royal has 3.25 gallons. Again, they all work the same. It's just how much water that they hold. All right. Thank you very much for your time today. Thank you very much for sharing and giving me the thumbs up. Thank you for being prepared. You want to have this before you can't get one, and you want to have one before you get an alert from your water supplier that you have to boil the water, or when if the water is not available. You guys have a great weekend. Have a blessed day. This is LDS Prepper reminding you, if ye are prepared, ye shall not fear. Don't worry about getting sick or dying from contaminated water. Get your Berkey water filter, if that's the one that works for you, at ldsprepperstore.com.